Hey guys, it's Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create realistic crystals using the Color Therapy app. The really fun part of coloring crystals is that they can be so many different hues and varieties of shapes and reflectiveness, so you can really have creativity with it. Follow along by searching for crystals. So I love the hologram palette to use for crystals. You can also use the neon palette, but this one's really fun. So I'm gonna use the fourth color on the top row, gradient. And I'm just gonna tap in a few of the crystals. Tapping in these ones in so it's pink at the top. I mean, the fun thing is you can really just mix and match the colors and the gradients as you'd like. And then I'm also using the sixth color on the top row and just tapping in some more. And then let's tap in the background. So I'm gonna use the basic palette. I'm just using the third color from the right on the top row. I'm just tapping that in. If you want to keep the leaves, you can. I'm just going to erase them so we can focus on the crystals. And then I want to create a vignette around it so it really just looks like it's glowing from like a really deep dark cave. So I'm using the AIRBRUSH tool, size 100 and opacity at 30. And with black and coloring inside the lines mode set to off, I'm just adding a nice like foggy, smoky vignette around all the crystals. Now sample that color that we used from the background, so that blue, and then we're going to use the AIRBRUSH tool, so at size 45 and opacity at 65, and make sure coloring inside the lines mode is set to on, and we're going to add our shadows in softly. So I'm just shading the facets of the crystals, kind of where the template is showing me where to shade. So I'm just choosing the areas. If you're using a different picture, then just choose one side of each facet of the crystals and just shade it softly. And you don't have to do all of them either. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you can also lower your stroke opacity and then lower the size down to 18. And now we're going to just focus on some more detailed shadows. So just follow some of the lines and the edges of the crystals. Now with the AIRBRUSH tool, let's reset the size to 45 and opacity at 65. And using black, I'm just going to shade the base of the crystal so that it looks like they're just kind of coming out of something and just exploding out with lots of bright color. So the ones in the front are going to be shaded, and also the ones behind them, just add a little bit of that black to the base. Now let's set the size down to 7 and opacity at 100, then select white, and we're going to highlight a few areas. So I'm just really randomly selecting a few of the edges of the crystals and just following along the edge and just highlighting it white. And it'll look really good if you make those lines really sharp. So just stay right along those edges. So it doesn't really matter where you put them, just add a few here and there. So now I want to add a little bit of texture with the splatter tool. So I'll do size at 18 and opacity at 14. And with white, I'm just going to add in some little bits of texture, just randomly here and there to a few of the crystals. And then over in the glow palette, I'm going to use the sixth color on the second row, and I'll use a smudge tool this time. So I'll do size 55 and opacity at 65. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of that glowy color to some areas of the crystals again. And I mean, like I'm saying, I'm doing this really random. You can look at a reference if you want to really go for a specific thing, but I think this is just a really fun way to do it. Then I think you should just top it off with the fairy dust tool. I'm going to lower the size down to 1 and opacity at 100. And with white, I'm just going to softly add in some sprinkles. So I might drag my finger here and there or just dot it in. Get some nice, shiny, reflective areas. And it's really as simple as that. You can also add in some bokeh by using the pen tool and just dotting in some bubbles to add another element of whim. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.